It was the early 1900s. A world of steel, ambition, and endless uncertainty. Factories roared, fortunes were built, and millions wondered why some people became rich while others stayed trapped in struggle. Amid that chaos, one young journalist began a lifelong journey to find the answer. His name was Napoleon Hill. Hill was not born into wealth. He was born into poverty, but curiosity became his greatest asset. One day, fate brought him face to face with Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men in America. Carnegie saw something rare in Hill and hunger, and he gave him a challenge that would define his life. "I will introduce you to the most successful people alive," Carnegie said, "but you must find what makes them different and share it with the world." That single mission turned into 25 years of research. Hill studied more than 500 millionaires, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, and many more. From their stories, he discovered 13 universal principles of success, principles that still work today, in business, in art, in dreams, in life itself. And now, over a century later, we'll uncover those secrets again, but this time, in the language of our generation. Let's begin. Secret 1, desire. Every great success begins with a burning desire. Not a wish, not a dream, but a fire inside you that refuses to die. Hill said, "The starting point of all achievement is desire." And he was right. You can't move mountains with half-hearted wishes. You have to want it so badly that it becomes your reason to wake up. In Hill's time, desire meant the will to escape poverty. Today, it's the force that drives creators to build apps, channels, companies, and empires from nothing. Elon Musk once said, "I don't ever give up, unless I'm dead or completely incapacitated." That's desire and the refusal to quit even when everything goes wrong. If you chase 10 goals, you'll catch none. Choose one dream, one mission, and give it everything you've got. Because as Hill warned, if you don't know what you want, you'll accept whatever life gives you. So ask yourself tonight, what do I want so deeply that I'd trade comfort for it? What fire would I still chase if no one believed in me? That's where desire is born. That's where success begins. Secret 2, faith. Faith is believing in the result before you see the evidence. Hill wrote, "Faith is the only known antidote for failure." To him, faith wasn't religious, it was psychological. When your mind truly believes in something, it begins to shape reality to match that belief. When J.K. Rowling wrote Harry Potter, she was rejected 12 times. When Colonel Sanders tried to sell his chicken recipe, he was turned down more than 1,000 times. But they both had faith. Faith that said, "This dream belongs to me. It's only a matter of time." Faith isn't built by talking. It's built by acting. Do one small thing every day that proves to yourself you're serious. Write one page. Send one proposal. Take one step. Every small victory creates proof. Proof builds belief. And belief builds faith. That's how momentum is born. So when doubt whispers, "Maybe this isn't for you," you answer with action. Because faith doesn't mean you never fall. It means you never stop climbing. Secret 3, autosuggestion. What you tell yourself every day becomes your reality. Hill discovered that your mind is like a fertile garden. If you plant seeds of fear, you'll harvest failure. If you plant seeds of belief, you'll harvest progress. He called it autosuggestion, programming your subconscious mind through repetition. Today we call it mindset, manifestation, self-talk. But it's the same idea. Your brain listens to the words you feed it. If you keep saying, "I can't do this," your brain shuts down solutions. But when you tell yourself, "I will figure it out," your brain starts searching for answers. Serena Williams visualized every win before she played the match. Arnold Schwarzenegger imagined his body years before he built it. They both practiced autosuggestion, turning imagination into muscle memory. So what are you telling yourself every morning? "I'm tired. I'm unlucky. Nothing works." Or, "I'm learning. I'm improving. My time is coming." Because what you repeat, you become. Tell your mind a better story and it will fight to make it real. That's how Hill began his philosophy. Desire gives you purpose. Faith gives you strength. Autosuggestion gives you control. 3 keys that can still transform anyone's life, if they dare to use them. That's why Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." It isn't just a pretty line. It's psychology. Your brain can't really tell the difference between something vividly imagined and something real. So when you picture your goal and believe in it deeply enough, your subconscious begins to move you toward it. Every day you repeat that image with emotion. You teach your mind what to look for, who to notice, and which chances to take. That's what faith really does. It isn't waiting for a miracle from the sky. It's building an inner certainty so powerful that the outer world eventually adjusts to it. So the question isn't whether you have faith. The real question is, what do you have faith in? Your dreams or your doubts? Every day you talk to yourself, whether you mean to or not. The only question is what message you're sending. Napoleon Hill called this autosuggestion, the habit of planting repeated thoughts in the mind until they become belief. The mind is a garden. Every thought is a seed. Plant fear and you harvest excuses. Plant confidence and you harvest action. Modern science calls it neuroplasticity, but Hill knew it long before the term existed. You become what you think about most of the time. So stop saying I can't. Start saying I will. Stop saying I hope. Start saying I am becoming. Write your goal in the present tense as if it already belongs to you. Repeat it every morning and every night. You're not pretending. You're programming. Because if you don't code your own mind, the world will code it for you, with fear, comparison, and doubt. Speak words of faith until your results begin speaking them back to you. Knowledge by itself is not power. Applied knowledge is. Hill noticed that the world is full of people who collect facts but never use them. General knowledge, no matter how great, is of little use in the accumulation of wealth. The world doesn't pay for what you know. It pays for what you can do with what you know. In this century, that truth is even sharper. Automation can copy average work, but it can't copy mastery. So become a specialist. Learn deeply. Find mentors. Read like a miner searching for gold. And remember that true learning never ends. What worked yesterday might not work tomorrow. Stay humble enough to learn, brave enough to unlearn, and wise enough to relearn. Every master you admire today once stood exactly where you are, but they decided not to stay there. Everything around you was once only an idea. The house, the airplane, the internet, all were invisible before someone imagined them. Napoleon Hill called imagination the workshop of the mind. Man can create anything he can imagine. There are two kinds of imagination. Synthetic imagination rearranges what already exists. Creative imagination brings something completely new. Both can change the world. Imagination is your greatest human privilege. Machines can analyze, but they can't dream. Only you can close your eyes and build a future out of nothing but thought. So protect your imagination. Feed it with reading, reflection, silence, and curiosity. Don't rush to fill every quiet moment with noise, because silence is where imagination begins to whisper. The future will belong not to those who copy, but to those who create. A dream without a plan is just a wish. That's why Napoleon Hill's next secret is organized planning. He said, "You must translate desire into action." The universe respects clarity, not confusion. Every successful person is both a dreamer and a planner. They imagine the end goal clearly, then break it into small, definite steps. They write down what must be done today, this week, this month, and this year, and then they act on it one step at a time. A plan doesn't need to be perfect. It only needs to exist, because action refines what thinking cannot. Most people wait for everything to line up before starting, but nothing ever lines up until you move. Hill also said no individual has sufficient experience or education to ensure great success without the cooperation of others. That means you need a team. Success is never solo. Even the lone geniuses had people who believed, supported, and challenged them. Build alliances with those who share your vision. Let them sharpen your thinking. And if your plan fails, and it will sometimes, adjust, not abandon. Failure is simply the plan revealing what doesn't work. Learn, rewrite, and relaunch. That's organized planning in motion. The next secret is decision. Hill found that successful people make decisions quickly and change them slowly, while unsuccessful people make decisions slowly and change them quickly. Indecision is the thief of opportunity. Every time you delay, you lose momentum and confidence. Every time you decide, you grow stronger. Decision doesn't mean recklessness. It means direction. When you make a firm choice, life starts aligning resources to match it. Doors appear only after you step forward. People who can't decide spend their lives following those who can. Leaders are simply people who decided first. Stop waiting for perfect timing. There is no perfect moment, only the one you choose. Make the decision, even if it scares you, because courage doesn't come before the decision. It comes after. And that brings us to persistence. Hill called it the sustained effort necessary to induce faith. Without persistence, every other principle dies before it bears fruit. Most people give up not because they lack skill, but because they stop too soon. They confuse temporary defeat with permanent failure. Every master failed more than beginners ever tried. Edison tested 10,000 times before his light bulb worked. Colonel Sanders was rejected over 1,000 times before someone tasted his recipe. They all had one thing in common: persistence. Persistence means continuing when motivation fades. It means showing up when no one claps, when results are invisible, when everything feels slow. It means doing what must be done whether you feel like it or not. If you can stay persistent when others quit, the universe starts to notice. Because life secretly tests how badly you want what you say you want. Every time you push through resistance, you signal to life, "I'm serious," and that signal changes everything. No one climbs to greatness alone. That's why Napoleon Hill introduced the idea of the mastermind. He wrote, "No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third, invisible, intangible force which may be likened to a third mind. When two or more people with similar vision work in harmony, their combined energy becomes something far greater than the sum of their efforts." It's the secret behind every great company, movement, or discovery in history. Ford had Edison. Jobs had Wozniak. Gates had Allen. They each had someone who amplified their thinking. The mastermind principle means surrounding yourself with people who challenge your ideas, not those who agree with everything you say. It's about unity, not uniformity. When strong minds collide respectfully, new wisdom is born. Choose your circle carefully. Talk less about people and more about ideas. Build relationships with those who expand your mind, not drain your energy. The direction of your life is decided by the conversations you have most often. Hill's next principle often surprises people: the mystery of sex transmutation. It sounds strange, but his meaning is profound. He discovered that the same powerful creative energy that drives human desire can also be redirected into ambition, creativity, and genius. He wrote, "When driven by this desire, men develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability unknown to them at other times." In simple words, it's about channeling your life force, the energy that seeks expression, into higher forms of creation. Instead of wasting it in distractions or temporary pleasures, you convert it into focus, art, invention, and drive. Every truly great creator, artist, or visionary learned how to transform passion into productivity. The greatest fuel for your goals is already within you. It just needs direction. Next is the subconscious mind. Hill called it the connecting link between your conscious thoughts and the infinite intelligence of the universe. It never sleeps. It records every word you speak, every emotion you feel, every thought you repeat. It cannot distinguish between reality and imagination. Whatever you feed it, it accepts as truth and works to make it real. That's why it's vital to guard your mental diet. If you feed your mind fear, scarcity, and doubt, it will create situations that confirm them. But if you feed it faith, abundance, and determination, it will build a reality to match. Hill said the subconscious mind is the bridge between desire and achievement. You communicate with it through repetition, emotion, and visualization, so train it daily. Speak to it with conviction. And remember, it always listens, whether you realize it or not. Then comes the brain itself. Hill described the brain as a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. He believed every human brain vibrates energy, sending and receiving ideas like a radio. Modern science might describe it differently, but the core idea stands. Your thoughts carry frequency. They attract other thoughts, people, and circumstances that match their vibration. When your mind is filled with fear, you attract fearful conditions. When your mind is filled with purpose, you attract purposeful allies. Your brain is both magnet and mirror. It reflects what you think, and it pulls toward you what you expect. Every great invention, movement, or relationship began as Thought energy transmitted and received. Between tuned minds. That's why it's not enough to think. You must think clearly with intention. The brain becomes sharper when faith, focus, and emotion work together. Keep your mind tuned to possibility, and it will connect you to the right people, ideas, and timing. The 13th and most mysterious principle is what Napoleon Hill called the sixth sense. He described it as the door to the temple of wisdom. It's that quiet inner voice that whispers before logic speaks. It's intuition, the flash of insight that arrives out of nowhere, yet feels absolutely right. Hill believed that after mastering the other 12 principles, your mind becomes so aligned, so disciplined, that this higher sense begins to guide you. You no longer rely only on reason. You start to feel guidance from something deeper, a connection to what he called infinite intelligence. Modern thinkers might call it instinct, gut feeling, or flow. Whatever the name, it's real. It's that moment when a writer suddenly knows what to say, when a founder senses the right move, when a leader decides without fear and ends up being right. You can't force the sixth sense. You can only prepare for it. It appears when your thoughts are pure, your goals are clear, and your emotions are steady. It's the reward for mental discipline, the mind's graduation gift. The more you listen to that inner whisper, the louder it becomes. And the more you ignore it, the quieter it gets. Every great decision begins as a quiet nudge that most people are too busy to notice. Pay attention. Your intuition might be the universe speaking in your language. But even with all these principles, there's one enemy that can destroy them all: fear. Hill called fear man's greatest enemy. He said there are 6 basic fears: fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. Almost every hesitation, every lost dream, and every wasted talent can be traced back to one of these. Fear paralyzes imagination. It kills decision. It weakens faith. It whispers lies. You're not ready. You'll fail. What will people think? But here's the truth. Everyone feels fear. The difference is how they respond. The successful don't wait for fear to disappear. They act while it's still there. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's mastery over it. Every time you act in spite of fear, it loses power over you. And one day, it stops controlling your choices. So if fear has been your shadow, face it. Talk to it. Tell it. You don't run this story anymore. Because on the other side of fear is freedom. And that brings us to the end of Napoleon Hill's 13 secrets. Desire, faith, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning, decision, persistence, the mastermind, sex transmutation, the subconscious mind, the brain, and the sixth sense. 13 timeless laws, and all pointing to one truth. Success begins in the mind, long before it shows up in the world. You don't need to be born rich. You don't need perfect timing or special luck. You just need a burning desire, a clear plan, and the discipline to think and act with purpose every single day. Everything you want already exists in potential, waiting for you to become the person capable of receiving it. That's what Hill discovered after studying hundreds of millionaires and dreamers. The secret was never in their background, their education, or their resources. It was always in their mindset. So ask yourself right now, what do I truly desire? Do I believe I can achieve it? And am I willing to persist until it becomes real? Because when your mind believes, your actions follow. When your actions persist, results appear. And when results appear, the world calls it luck. But you'll know it was never luck. It was law. This is the wisdom of Napoleon Hill, reborn for the modern world. May it remind you that success is not found. It is created, inside your mind, one thought at a time.